Welcome, everybody. Hi, Mark. It's good to see you at another workshop. Good afternoon. And I'm going to go ahead and toss into chat while we're getting started the attendance link. There we go. So if you could take a moment to go ahead and click the attendance link for today, it's codehs.com/custom-attend. That is going to let me send you a certificate of attendance when the workshop is complete. So go ahead and click that. We'll maybe just wait a few more seconds. I know I've heard from a few people who registered but knew they wouldn't be able to attend. So we'll see. We'll get started in just a moment. Thank you again for joining us today. We know this is a busy time of year in the teacher world. So thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with us. We think this is a very timely workshop. I'm sure we're all getting ready for those final tests. So this should hopefully give you some good information to get you through the last few weeks of school, hopefully the last few weeks of school. I know some teachers are ending a little later than others.
Lori, while we're waiting, are there any free opportunities to get better trained in like Java and C# and Python and such over the summer?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that. We're actually talking about some of those workshops that we will be offering this summer. We will have a bunch of sort of course overview type workshops that are going to get posted, but we also have some other workshops that are in the works, mostly coming from teacher trainers as well. And some of those will be based on, Java for sure. We've got some teachers interested in running some Java workshops. And Python is probably another one that you can expect to see some. I can keep you posted on that. I can let you know for sure if and when we get more of those. But that's always something that we're looking at, is how to, because that's a common question. Are there going to be workshops that will be offered to help me actually improve my programming experience? So I'll keep you posted, okay? Okay, I'm going to toss that attendance link in the chat one more time. So if you haven't clicked it yet, go ahead and do that. If you're just joining us, the attendance link will let me send you a certificate of attendance after the workshop. Okay, there we go. Get a few more people. All right. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on anybody coming into the workshop. We're going to go ahead and get started because Chip has some really great stuff to show us today. So again, welcome everybody. We are back with Chip Kramlich, one of our fabulous teacher trainers, and he is going to be showing us how to add your own custom quizzes to CodeHS courses. And as a little bonus, Chip is going to talk also about using Markdown to actually format your quiz questions as well. So I'm very excited for this. Chip, let's go to that next slide. There we go. If you need the slides, and you will probably want those slides, and again, I'll send those out in the follow-up, but you can also access them by going to codehs.com/custom-slides. I'll go ahead and toss that link into chat real quick. Make sure I typed it right. There we go. So you can click on that in chat, or you can scan that QR code. So you'll have access to the slides right now. And again, I'll send that out in the follow-up email too. Okay, if you don't have an account, and I think you all do have accounts. But if you don't, go ahead and browse out to codehs.com/sign-up to create a free educator account. If you are just setting one up for the first time, drop me a note in chat and I can help make sure that gets verified right away. But again, I think all of you are in already. Chip is going to explain a little bit about how we're going to do this workshop. We're going to do it just a little differently. So excited about this. Chip, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So for this workshop, I'm going to demonstrate some stuff, and then I've got a course set up in CodeHS. If you've registered, we've already got you registered in the course. So if you can, in another tab, go ahead and open up CodeHS. log in, if you check your courses or your sections, you should see one called Kramlich-custom quizzes. We're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna demonstrate stuff, and I really want you guys practicing and going through and making your own mini quiz just to practice it and going from there. So if you don't have a teacher account, here are instructions on how to get a teacher account. And if you don't have access to the course, I believe everybody here is already in there. And what you'll see is you'll see this course I've got created. So we're going to work through this. This is just our little play area for today. Where you'll get your opportunity to actually add your own little custom quiz and understand how to actually do a quiz and add questions to the quiz. Okay, so again, codehs.com, join_class_teacher, and the code, if you don't have it, is right there, E30EFD. Now, I'll leave this course up for probably a few months, probably keep it up until probably July. So if you want to jump in and just play with it some, you're more than welcome to after this. Let's move ahead. Okay, so first thing we're going to cover is, now there's a few things you can do. If you've currently got a course you're using, like maybe you're using the APCS principles or the APCSA, and you've got some questions that you want to actually add to a module, well, that's fine. We'll get to some of that. But if you want to create your own custom modules, and that's why I've got this as optional, this is something you don't have to do. It's really quite simple. All you pretty much have to do is you get to the assignments area, and you're going to click on that little add button on the right, and then you can add your own module. Once you've got your module, you have to think of modules like a unit. So you can break up your courses into units. Each unit's a module, and then inside module, you'll have individual lessons. And that's what we get to next. So you're adding your own lesson at this point. It's pretty straightforward. Once you're in the module, you'll just click and you'll see add new lesson. And then you're going to add in the assignments for each individual lesson. So if you're familiar with the CodeHS lessons, the way they are, typically you start with a video, then you move into the video quiz, you'll have some examples, and then you can have that custom quiz, either somewhere in there. And that's what we're really going to get to today, is getting to that custom quiz. So from this point, we're going to make the assumption you've got the unit created. You're going to go ahead and you're going to create a lesson, and then from that lesson, we're going to add a quiz. Now, at this point, your quizzes will only be multiple choice questions. The good thing is it's flexible where you can actually make it, because it's multiple choice, with you need a minimum of 2 answers. So you can do true, false, yes, no. If you want to do 3 or 4, you can just add those that are actually, as you'll see, that are optional. So when you're creating a new quiz, this is the screen you'll actually see. You'll give your quiz a title, and you'll see this box to create a new question. When you click on that, the question editor comes up. And from here, you can actually type in your question and give your answers. And with the answers, you'll see like choice 1, choice 2, and then you'll see choice 3, 4, and 5 are optional. They only show up if you actually enter in something into the box. And to mark the correct answer, you just click the correct radio button, and that marks that answer correct. And then you'll just click create. And then after you've clicked create, you can then hit the save button. And after you save, you can then preview it, and preview it will bring it up in a new tab. So at this point, let's go ahead and just look at how that's actually done. So here I've got my Unit 1 quiz demo. I'm going to click over here on the plus, expand out the whole module, and we can see that this module is empty, so I'm going to go ahead and add a new lesson. Lesson title will just be custom quiz demo. Demo 1, so it's got a different name than the unit. Okay, so we've created this lesson. Now, once you create a lesson, what it automatically does is goes in and says, this lesson is empty, and says add new assignment. When you add the new assignment, you have multiple choices to do here. And I've done this on a few things. I've created some modules that I've had my students use. And please tell me it doesn't. Oh, no, that's okay. I've done a lot with the coding exercises. Up until recently, I haven't really done a whole lot with quizzes. I'm starting to do more with quizzes because, again, we want them to actually practice and understand, get that instant feedback. So we've got coding exercises is kind of like tying in a sandbox issue. Practice problem, these are auto grading things. I'm sure we're going to have in the future some PD on how to create auto-graded assignments. I know teacher trainers, we got it and they were good. It's really quite interesting. Video, article, notes, free response, and the embed. But we're going to focus today on custom quizzes. So we click on quiz, and here's that screen. And I'm just going to call this quiz 1. Now, we've given it a title. We'll go ahead and click create new question. So we have our question title right here, like what does what does a dog say? And here I can say woof, meow, and then I can say move. Now I can say which one is the correct answer, and I've got it marked. And then all I have to do is click create. At this point, I've got a 1-question quiz, and it shows there's a single question. Now up here at the top are some other things you can configure with custom quizzes. Because you're adding it to a predefined course already, it'll actually add you to all sections, or if you want, you can actually say, well, I just want this one to be for like a 4th period section. So you can do it for that. And most of these are about the same customizations you can do with most of the other lesson or assignments you can add to a lesson. When is it available? Is there a due date? How many points? Which category am I putting it in? And is it in the gradebook? And if you click on all settings, this is open up a new window and you can get into more of this. I'm not going to go much in that because then that's the whole grade configuration thing, which I'm sure CodeHS already has some PD on, or will have it in the future. But pretty much you can configure how it's graded and when it's available. And then the about screen is just pretty much what you typed in, what it is, who's the author, and going from there. Now, so I've got this. I'm going to go ahead and click save up here. Now I can go ahead and click preview. That opens it up in a new tab. And I can see my question. What does this dog say? And I can say meow, and I got it wrong, but I can see the correct answer. So it's pretty straightforward on how to create questions. So I've got one question. I can easily create another one. What? This gives my age. What does stand for? And it can be like this. I mean, you can put them in the correct order. I'm just doing the correct answer first. Typical response from students, IDK. And I can leave it like that. And here, that again, create. We've got it, and we've got 2. Now, let's say you wanted to add more answers. Like here for my question, what does DOS stand for? I can easily click on the pencil here. I can go into edit mode. Now with edit mode, they give you this preview. So you can kind of see what the question currently looks at. And you can jump back to edit and like say, let's just say D.O.S is a second choice. And down here, and you click save. I'm going to inform you right now, there is a little gotcha here. Sometimes if I edit a question, I may have to edit it a second time for it to actually show up with the correct edit. I click save, there it goes. Oops, didn't want to add a 3rd question. I'm going to close that out. And then we can easily delete this because that we can remove them. Again, just clicking the X. Good thing that I had a mistake. So now if I come here, I click save again, and I go to preview. I can see now I've got 2 questions in my quiz. Click continue. Oops. Oh, something happened here. Let's click save again. There we go. Click preview. Because I've seen it sometimes where I've had to click save twice for things to actually work. And for some reason, it's not working now. I just love it when things don't work that way. So let's go in and let's just check this question real quick.
Sometimes Zoom throws a little wrench into things too.
So again, maybe you can see what it does, and sometimes this just happens. Okay, I'm gonna click save again here. So I think sometimes that's the case. I didn't click save and then save here. then preview, and I ran through this before. Typically that should have been enough. Now I got no. Let me do retake and see if maybe it may be because it's already scored. Yeah, there it is. It was because it's already scored. So something we have to do is if it's scored, just go through and do it now. You can actually do your quizzes. And if you want them to actually not see the answers and all this, yeah, there's a functionality inside the course where you can actually have it where the answers will be random order, the questions will be in random order, and so that's part of the course configuration that we can look at a little bit later. So this is all great. I can actually add multiple choice questions, but most of us, we're teaching programming, we need our questions to actually be formatted in a certain way, because as you can see from the basic editor, we don't have any kind of formatting. So we can just type in a question, type in an answer, and that's all we get. There's no little format bar to do bullets or anything like that. This is where the next phase comes in. Now, before we get to that, what I want to go ahead and do is have you guys get into the course. Go ahead, create your own quiz. You can add it here inside my Unit 1. You can add it as part of this lesson or do that, but just go through. I'll watch here, and if you guys have questions, we'll answer them, and then we'll jump into the next phase, which is actually formatting the questions. But please go ahead, jump in the course, and give it a shot.
And don't be shy about questions. If you have any questions, we are a small group, so if you're comfortable unmuting and asking, that's fine as well, I think.
If you're not sure how to do something, let me know. I can walk you through a little bit. Again, you're going to realize that it is quite simple to add.
Chip, one thing that I think is good to note too is that the ability to add any of those customizations. So anything that Chip just walked through where he was adding a module, a lesson, the exercise, and then choosing which activity to add, including these quizzes, those are available for both free and pro teachers. So definitely something good to know if you are a free teacher.
So we want to go ahead and just like add a new assignment. I'm going to refresh my screen really quick, see any new. Okay, sample. Yeah, so somebody's added a sample quiz. I've added a new assignment. Now, once you add it, if you don't go directly into the quiz, it will show it as new assignment. And then you can always do this. I'm going to go back to my quiz demo, and you guys can keep trying to add. You click the edit button to go back into your quiz. And then you can go back and you can actually edit your quiz and do what you need to do. Maybe you want to change the number of points, add more questions, but it's fairly straightforward. It's really quite simple. And I see Amy's added a quiz, which is good. So just to pull everybody, are things going well? Do you find it fairly easy so far? Okay, good. I've seen some head shakes and some nods. Okay, so are we ready to look at how to format questions? Yep, okay, good. So I'm going to jump back to the presentation. Now, the formatting is what's with something called Markdown. Markdown is, as it says here, a lightweight markup language. Unlike most markup languages that involve tag opening and closing tags, these are really just mostly on just one side. It is a really simple way, and it is a subset. It doesn't really do everything HTML does, but it does give you enough to actually do what you need to do. And it also does have some functionality that HTML doesn't have built in, as we'll see. Now, Markdown is you'll see a lot of Markdown when you're working with GitHub. So if you've used GitHub and you've seen the readme.md files, or maybe you've downloaded something and there's that readme.md, that's a Markdown file. And it's pretty much formatted. It's a text-based file. It's just formatted to actually give you some kind of markup where you can actually get something that looks like a proper document. Now, I've got two things. I've got what we're trying to do, how it's done with Markdown, and then the HTML equivalent. Because I'm pretty sure most of you guys are familiar at least with some basic HTML code, or at least if you're not, you can definitely go to something like W3 Schools and actually look at some of these things too. So if I want a main heading, an H1 in HTML, I just do a single hashtag and then a space and then whatever my actual heading is. A subheading, 2 hashtags and go from there. Subheading, 3 hashtags and that. So it's pretty straightforward on how to do headings. If I want something flagged in bold, I do 2 asterisks, whatever it is, it's going to be in bold, and then another 2 asterisks. Italic, 1 asterisk, and then the text, and then single asterisk. So pretty straightforward. And from italics may have a different way. I think you can do a single underscore on each side, and that will also set it as italics. I forgot to add that, but it's something we can try. That way you can actually have bold, italic in the same thing. Another thing is maybe you want a horizontal line across the horizontal rule. Well, that's dash space, dash space, dash space. That will create your horizontal line. Or maybe you want to do like block quotes. You want some piece of text kind of all to itself, indented a little bit. You just do a greater than symbol, little space, and for each line you put the greater than, it will actually shift it over as block text. You can embed hyperlinks, and the way it is, square bracket, what you want to be linked, the text for the link is in square brackets, and then the link itself is in parentheses. You may want to embed an image. It's kind of like a hyperlink, except you put an exclamation point in front of it. You do alt, your alt text there, and then your URL. Now, this gets to where what you may want to do a little more. Maybe you have a bulleted list or an unordered list. It's just a dash and then a space and then the item. Numbered lists. This is really interesting because when I first started learning it and going through some of the documentation out there on the internet, you saw some people like, well, number 1, number 2, number 3. You can do it that way. You can just do number 1 dot and then whatever. Then next line down, you can do another number 1 dot and you just keep doing number 1. So you don't have to number it for you. You just keep doing number 1s. It will actually number it for you in the correct order, which is really cool. So you don't have to keep up with which number. If you're moving things around, if you do everything with number 1, you can actually shift positions and it will auto number for you. Any questions so far? Because I know once I start talking, I start to go a little quick. Everybody's good? Okay. Now, this is where it really becomes cool. HTML does have a code option, and it just kind of makes the code into, it uses like a monospace font where all the code has that typewriter kind of look, but it doesn't do highlight text or syntax highlighting. So these symbols here are what are called backticks. It's up at the top left corner of your keyboard underneath the same key as the tilde. So just above the tab, as you'll see it, it's kind of the apostrophe facing the wrong way. So you do 3 of those, and then whatever's between the next 3 of them, that actually is what's actually going to be done as the code. Now, with text highlighting, if you do the 3 backticks, and then give the language, it will actually do the syntax highlighting for the language. And this is the cool piece that we'll actually use when you're writing your questions. So let's look at some of these and how they actually work. So I'm going to go back to my custom quiz. Here's one. And I'm going to create a new question. This time I'm going to actually use it. So I'm on a heading. This time it may be saying, what does and this time I want to actually emphasize dog. Say. And maybe I want to do a little bit of a response here. It's like, okay, I want to see the code. So it may be something like, maybe in Python, print woof. And then, oops, there we go. But here I'm going to use syntax highlighting. Maybe I'm going to do this one in JavaScript. JavaScript, and I'm going to do console log. And I'm going to do one more. Just forgot to close that one out. And 3 there, and then maybe one more. This one we'll do it as HTML. And I can say something like P book / P. Okay, so again, create the question. I'm going to come over here to, and what we can do is we can actually go back and edit it. And if we look at preview, it will actually show you. So we can see here, this is a heading. Dog is actually in bold. If I don't use any code text highlighting, it's just going to put that little box and put it in that monospace font. But here, this is actually done as JavaScript. And you mouse over it, it shows that it's JavaScript. And then down here, it's HTML. So this is where your custom quizzes will actually be even more beneficial to your students, because you'll be able to type in code. They can see it as the code as it would look in the editor. And the actual thing, not just in answers, you can actually do it here. If I want to, I can go system out on both, and I'll hit save again. Now I will show you, this is kind of where some things kind of go funky on me. Yeah, it did save. And then if I go to preview, we can see that it's actually part of the question header. It's part up there. So this does give you that functionality. So let's go back, and I'm going to close that one out. I'm going to add a new question and look at some of the other items we've talked about with, oops, was that a new question? There we go. So again, hashtag is going to give me a heading. So I'm going to do hashtag main heading, and 2 hashtags, subheading, and then maybe I want a horizontal line here. Dash. And then down here, I could actually just type in like, what is the code for a loop that repeats 3 times? Now, maybe I want to actually have repeat as something I could easily just, at this point, make it italics, single asterisk. And then here, I'm just going to just give some answers, B, C, and D. Maybe I want 4 answers this time. And I'm just going to choose D as the answer. So we can see the formatting in the actual question itself. So we click create. And again, I can go to preview, but I actually find it better just if I want to look at it again, I just come back and look at the preview, and there's my question. So we can see here main heading, subheading, and you can see repeats is that way. Now, so we're seeing that what CodeHS has for creating custom questions is actually a really easy way of actually doing it. And what I really like, because it's this markup language, is I can type into things a lot faster than typing, going up to some little edit bar, click, okay, I want to select all this, I need a list, drop down list, I can go from there. It's much easier with this. And I want to show you the list piece because I find that really interesting. So if I want to list, I can easily just like one dot item A, one dot item B, dot item C. And again, I'm going to save it. And I go back in, and then I can look at the preview. And this is where I said, sometimes I have to go back and I have to save it a second time. Save, and go back. And now preview, and there it is. You can see it numbers it for you. So one of the things, if you're doing a numbered list, just do number 1. Bullets, again, just dash space, basketball, football, and soccer. And then we'll save it. And I'm going to go back in just a second time, hit save again. Just because I've seen sometimes it, and then preview it, and we get our bullets. So this definitely makes it faster to type in questions. once you understand the basics of markdown, canvas and markup. And if you want to see what block text does, this is a quote, a block quote. And just to show you the difference, I'm just going to put some text up here. This is a block quote. Click save. Back in, and oops, yeah, some of that. So there we go. And I'll go back and just make sure it's there. And under preview, you can see that you get that indentation, that little bar, and then the indentation, so you can see what's block quoted. Very useful specifically on your questions, and you can combine these. So do we have any questions so far? I think you guys are doing fine. I just want to make sure I'm not overloading you. Okay, everybody's good so far? So let's go back, and at this point, I'm going to go back here. Give you guys an opportunity to play with it. Work with some of the markdown, see how it actually does work. Now, while you guys are working, let me just inform you of a few things. There isn't one markdown standard. Most things I've given you are the same on most versions of markdown. So if you're doing markdown in GitHub, it may work a little differently with some things. For the markdown in CodeHS, some things may not work the same. And it's just whoever's using the markdown, because there's various flavors of it. Some things will work on one and won't work on the other. And one thing I will tell you is tables are one of those things. That's why I'm not really demonstrating tables. I just don't think they work well. And if you are going to do tables, my suggestion is go ahead and create a table some other way, do a screenshot of it, edit the picture, and put the image in the question. This is the big gotcha on the images. They need to be stored somewhere on a web server. Now, CodeHS does provide the web server as part of the sandbox in your own personal account. So you can always load it there. You can get the link from that and then use that link to actually put in your own image. Yeah, so yeah, it's really difficult with tables. I've always had issues with that. But other than that, I mean, you've got most of the functionality of most other editors to do some basic text. So should we see what some people have done? I really don't want to highlight anybody, but are there any other questions at this point? Okay, so let's go a little bit through. You've seen how we can do this. We can create our custom quizzes, and we've created our lesson, and now it comes to grading them. Again, they're auto-graded with the auto-grader. So all you'd have to do here is that I can come up here to Toolbox. I can go over here to, where's my grade book? Yeah, I always lose it every once in a while. It's always in mind it's my most recent ones. That's on my work machine at school, and I always lose it other than here, which is grade bank. Let's see, fast grades. Oh, grade book. There's. But here in the grade book, you can actually see the actual grades. So you'll see the quizzes. You can see new assignment, day of week quiz, quiz 1, Amy's quiz, and short quiz. You guys have added them. They're part of it, and they do automatically show up in the grade book. And if you do want to do the custom stuff with, like, I want to actually make this, okay, these quizzes are going to be a formative grade. You can come here and actually make your changes here inside the grade book and actually, how you want it to display. I want to display only quizzes, give missing assignments 0, penalize like submissions, do the grade calculations, and work through all that from this point, along with the course settings also. So setting some stuff up in the course or section settings will allow you to do a little bit more. Okay, so let's go back here. You guys have created some quizzes, hopefully some assignments. There we go. And our unit, and we've gone through, we've played some with it. Okay, I'm going to go back to here. Now, we've played with Markdown. Hopefully you see that it is useful. You can do some really cool things with it. You can actually create programming questions fairly easy, giving them the code. So if you have a question that deals with code and like what would replace this, the typical like AP question is you put in the missing code comment. It's like what would fill in the line, and you can give the individual code lines so they can actually get a better feeling with the syntax highlighting as to what the line would be. Now, there are a bunch of resources for Markdown. First one I've got here is the people who actually initially created Markdown. They call it Common Mark, and they've got a link to their website. And as part of that, they've actually got a tutorial. So this gives you the basics that I've kind of gone over today, of what the minimum is. Bold, italic, the lists, the horizontal rules, and stuff like that. A lot of what people are going to is the markdownguide.org. This is great. They've got some more information, and they've got the Markdown cheat sheet that a lot of people use. I use the Markdown cheat sheet just to refer back. It's like, okay, how do I do that again? That's what, and I can easily click it. Let me go ahead, open this one up so you can kind of see. So it's going to give you the basic things I've kind of shown in my slides, like H1, H2, bold, italics, block quotes, ordered, unordered, the code. If you're going to do inline code, that's how you want to do it, and that'll just make that little block. So maybe in a sentence you want to do something, you work it there. Make all that. They do have the extended syntax, and this is where things change. This is like table. Fence block code works for just about everybody. But you've noticed here they didn't put the syntax formatting. That is something that does work. Again, you can work that way. Superscript and subscript don't work in CodeHS. I can inform you that that doesn't work. I tried, it didn't work. But most of the stuff I showed you does. So you should be good to go with that. That's one of the main sites that we've got. Again, a good reference. Also, if you're looking for some examples, this is Wikipedia's. They kind of show you kind of the same thing, but show you what the actual result would be like when you view it. So you can embed things, lists inside of other lists, and lists you can do with either asterisk or a dash, and they still show up the same way. Again, how to do the images and how to do block quotes. So they've got some stuff and some examples you can actually look at. And that's all I've got. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Actually, Lori, is it okay if I simply bookmark his slides? Will they go away very soon? No.
Nope. They will never go away. We hang on to these forever. So for sure, you can definitely bookmark those.
So I take it, Mark, you found this useful.
Yes, I could definitely see myself doing more of that in the future when I can find time. I'm teaching in a new school, in a new district, and new preps and everything. New state.
So lots of free time.
Yeah, the summer's all full of cybersecurity training, and then trying to do some more with Java and maybe some C#.
Excellent. I would say definitely watch for some workshops to come up this summer with us too. We have a lot of teacher trainers who are very, very good with Java. We haven't done anything with C#, and that would be really intriguing.
One thing I'm seeing is some people, they will actually instead teach the AP Computer Science Class A in C#, and then right before the test, they'll go ahead and go into Java for a little bit, just so that they're comfortable with the syntax differences they might see in the pseudocode on the AP.
Oh,
but C#
sure.
is actually easier to learn, is less tedious.
I have heard of people doing that. I would probably stick with Java just because I'm more comfortable with Java, but I would say too, our resources, we have some good resources that include the pseudocode as well. So if that helps, just saying. Hopefully, I know that's such a different thing. It's like a whole nother language for the kids.
Both languages are very, very closely related, and they're based on C. So once they learn C#, Java is a little bit more complex.
Yeah, and for those who teach AP, if College Board hasn't reached out to you with one of their I don't want to say quizzes, but polls, Let's just say somewhere in the future, and I don't know how many years it's going to be, they are looking at doing CSA with Python as an option.
I kind of like that, but I also kind of like the idea of teaching Python first and then saying, okay, now we're going to Java.
Yeah, I've done that with my kids because like I said that's what I do. CS principles is in Python, CSA is in Java. I'm like, can we please go back to Python? It's so much easier. I'm like, no, you got to learn this for your AP exam.
And someone else also mentioned about how Markdown will also work. And I apologize if you said this, Chip, and I missed it because I was reading other things and actually making a quiz. So, but someone else also mentioned that Markdown works in the feedback area as well.
Oh, okay.
So thank you very much. Yeah, John mentioned that. So
Yeah,
once
in a lot of little spots, it's kind of hidden in certain areas. Again, my original slide, I'll go back to it really quick. Where places it's actually being used. Oops, too far. There, logging, instant messaging, documentation, reading files. So, because it's so lightweight, it's easy to be implemented into some of these other applications. Okay. Well, Lori, if you want to talk a little bit on this stuff.
So I'm just typing furiously right now. There we go. I did just toss in the workshop survey, and I'm very much like, chewing gum and walking. I can't type and make sense of it while I talk, so I had to get that out. But yeah, we have a ton of resources here. If you're interested in becoming a CodeHS certified educator, I'll make sure that link is included in the slides that we send out after the workshop. We'll have a ton more free workshops coming up. And this summer, we're actually really increasing the number of teacher trainer workshops that we're doing. Chip is going to be doing a couple of workshops for us on microbit and Arduino with the those courses that we have later this summer. We actually have another teacher trainer in the attendees right now, and I think he'll be doing some workshops for us too. I've got him slated for a couple as well. And you'll see all those start rolling out. We've got a few listed right now on our site at codehs.com/freepd. So you'll be able to see the ones that we have listed now. I think tomorrow or by Monday for sure, you'll start seeing those summer ones show up. So keep an eye on that. And we'll be adding to that all the time. Teacher trainers have a lot of flexibility in coming up with their own ideas and sharing their own different workshops. So keep an eye on that throughout the summer. You'll definitely want to check out the CodeHS course catalog. We did just release P5JS yesterday. Nope, today. I lied. It's today. So there's a new P5JS mini course out there today. Check out those micro credentials, the Facebook group, all the good stuff. And in case anybody's interested, we do have the teacher trainer applications open through May 12th. And the workshop survey is on the next slide and in chat. Nope, it's on the very next slide. That's the free PDs. I forgot the order. So yep, workshop survey. If you could take a moment to let us know how everything was today. And please, please, please tell us, what would you like to see? We want to make sure we're bringing you content that is useful for you. And so that would be great. All right. And Chip, this was awesome. This was absolutely wonderful. We have not done, we really haven't focused a ton on creating those custom quizzes. So that was great. But then to add in the markdown, I think was phenomenal. And so that was absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much. We've been getting, I know I was responding to a lot of people who were sending me comments about what they were really loving with this workshop. So we really appreciate it. Pretty sure I'll be chatting with Chip about doing something else similar to this next year as well. So.
And I noticed that 2 courses are showing up that haven't been showing up before. So, and there are 2 sessions for the one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and sign up for those today.
Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, I think those just got posted. So for sure, sign up for them. yeah, keep an eye on that. I know we have plans to get some more sessions coming out tomorrow and Monday. So, all right, everybody, it is great to see all of you and connect with everybody. I love this, just to see our educators come back again and again. So it's great to see all of you. Oh, and Amy just mentioned I was still using Google Forms for my quizzes. This is pretty sweet. Amy, this is an amazing tool. I used Google Forms when I was in the classroom too for my quizzes for CodeHS. And yeah, I think this is a game changer. You can get your quizzes loaded in here, get them added in, done.
The one thing I didn't like about Google Forms is all the text is this big, which means
Yes.
it's big because you got to see all the questions.
And Markdown did not work. So just giant text. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. You'll get this follow-up from me tomorrow at some point. As fast as I can get that video out there, you'll get that follow-up. So thank you. Reach out if you've got any questions, and we will see you soon. Have a good rest of your school year.